Hello, my name's Reverend Nikki, and it's lovely to be with you for your Christmas celebrations in school today. Do you know, I would have loved to come and see you in person, but lots of things are a bit different about Christmas this year, aren't they? The great thing is we've found lots of new ways to be with each other and new ways even to celebrate Christmas. So today I am with you on a screen. I was speaking to Mrs. Rose earlier this week and she was telling me that today is the day that you're going to be making Christingles in school. Do you know, I love making Christingles and I would really like to have been there with you when you made them. So Mrs. Rose invited me to be with you today and we can make our Christingles together. And whilst we make the Christingles, perhaps we can have a think about what the Christingles mean at Christmas. One of the most wonderful things about this time of the year is giving and receiving presents. And the Christingle helps us to think about all of the different gifts that God gives us. So, have you got your Christingle bags at the ready? Have a scrummy around and see if you can find your Christingle orange. I've got mine here. I wonder what the orange might help us to think about. It's very round, a bit like a ball. Can we think of anything that the orange might help us to remember? Anything God might have given us to treasure and cherish? Makes me think about the world. The world's an awful lot bigger than this orange. It's humongous. But the Bible tells us that God made the world. He made it because he loved it. In fact, you could say that God made the world out of love. He loved it into being. Why don't you just hold the orange in your hand for a little while and have a think. See if you can imagine God holding this precious world that he created, surrounding it with love. Do you know, this Christmas time, we might know some people who might need to know that they're loved. This has been a tricky year, hasn't it? We might know some people who have found things really hard. We might know people who've been a bit worried, people who've been a bit sad. The Bible tells us that God is kind and loving, and that nothing happens that God doesn't see or care about. He sees all those people who are sad, and he sees all those people who are finding things difficult. And when God sees sad people and sad situations, he longs to surround them with his love. Have you noticed around my orange, there's a big red band? Red always makes me think of love. It's like the red hearts that we see on Valentine's cards, when we send special gifts to one another to remind or to tell people how much we care about them. And this red ribbon, well, it surrounds all of the orange. Perhaps it could help us to remember that God's love surrounds this world and that God's love is there for every person who needs it. In fact, at Christmas, Jesus came to show us what that love looked like. And Jesus in his life showed us how we can live our lives filled up with love. What else have you found in your bag? I wonder if you've come across some cocktail sticks. This is a bit of a fiddly bit of making a Christingle. What we need to do with our cocktail sticks is we need to take something else you might find in your bag, a bag of sweets. Try ever so hard not to eat them. you open your bag of sweets, and what you need to do is take one of the sweets and push it onto the cocktail stick so it looks a little bit like this. Once you've got your sweet on your cocktail stick, we're going to push the cocktail sticks into the orange. Now then, where could I put it? I'm going to put one here. And we're going to place these cocktail sticks with their sweets on them so that the cocktail sticks are pointing out in 4 different directions. There we go, there's 2. There's 3. And here's my last one, 4. I wonder what these cocktail sticks and sweets might remind us of. Do you know, when somebody gives me a package of sweets, feels like a pretty nice kind of present. I wonder whether these sweets are helping us to remember that God fills up every part of the world with good gifts. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 cocktail sticks, and they remind us that God gives us good things right the way through the year, through winter and spring and summer and autumn. I wonder if you can think of the good things that you enjoy. Perhaps it is some scrummy food that you particularly love. Perhaps it's the people that you love and who love you. Perhaps it's the friends that you meet at school, or the teachers who help you to learn new things. Perhaps it's going for a walk outside and seeing all of the beautiful things in nature. Lots of good things to remember, aren't there? The cocktail sticks are also pointing in 4 different directions, aren't they? I wonder whether that helps us to remember that God longs to give his good gifts to everyone, right across the world. At Christmas, we remember that there are some children and young people who might not have all they need to have a good Christmas. At Christmas, particularly this year, we're remembering that maybe some people aren't going to have the Christmas that they were looking forward to. They might not be able to see friends and family that they loved and cared about. They might be feeling a little bit poorly. They might have some worries. Christmas is a great time to remember that God longs that we share the good things in our lives with those who might need to know that they're special and cared about too. I wonder what you could do to show someone that you love or care about them this Christmas. Perhaps it might be phoning them up and having a chat with them. Perhaps you could make them a special card or draw them a lovely picture to cheer them up. Maybe you could have a think with the teachers in your class, or maybe with the grown-ups in your family when you get home. The last thing we need to do to make our Christingle is to place the candle on the top of the orange. Now, I've got a birthday candle to go in my Christingle. That reminds me, Christmas is a time when we celebrate a special birthday, Jesus' birthday. It's like Christmas is like a great big birthday celebration for Jesus. And as in all birthday, quite often people get cakes, don't they, at birthdays? And on those cakes, there are usually lots of candles. And a really special part of the celebration is when the candles are all lit and the person whose birthday it is we're celebrating gets to blow them all out and make a wish. Not only is Christmas a reminder that it's Jesus' birthday, but this light also helps us to remember something else that Jesus told us. He once said that he was like a light coming into the world to shine in all the dark and difficult places, in all the darkness that people perhaps struggle with. When he lights up people's lives with God's love, he helps them to know that they're precious and special and cared about. And that's what this light reminds me of, the light of Jesus in our world. So, I don't know whether you've finished making your Christingle orange yet. It might take you a little bit longer, because I make Christingle oranges every year, so I tend to be quite quick at making them. So if you've got a little bit of finishing off to do on your Christingle orange, perhaps you might like to listen to the Christingle song. It's a song that reminds us about all of the things we talked about on the Christingle. So whilst you're finishing off, I'm going to play you the song, and then when the song's finished, we'll think about lighting our Christingle.
Begins with an orange, like the world which the Lord God made. For creation is full of His glory, all around we see His love displayed. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle is the light of Christ. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle, light of Christ. Every year we give thanks for the seasons and the fruits of the earth to share. The Christingle is here to remind us that the love of God is everywhere. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle is the light of Christ. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle, light of Christ. God of love, we give thanks now for Jesus. We remember His birth again. But the red ribbon round the Christingle tells the story of His cross and pain. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle is the light of Christ. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle, light of Christ. To complete the Christingle, a candle, telling us of the world's true light. For the dark which the night overcoming, Jesus shines on in the darkest night. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle is the light of Christ. Sing Christingle, sing Christingle, sing Christingle, light of Christ.
So, now that we've finished making our Christingles, we're going to have a go at lighting them. And some of the teachers, I imagine, are going to come around and light those Christingles for you. And you're going to need to stand really still and hold your Christingle really still. So whilst your teachers are doing that, I'm just going to show you the best way of holding a Christingle. Hold it right out in front of you, away from your body, away from your clothes and your hair, and away from anybody else as well. We don't want to touch the Christingle or get the Christingle lighted candle close to anybody else. And when we've lit the candle, we're going to turn out the lights. It's not going to be very dark because it's the daytime, but we can imagine it's dark and that the candle's shining really brightly. And then we'll sing Away in the Manger. So, I'm going to have a go at lighting my candle now. There we go. see the flame flickering. So remember, stand really still, hold your Christingle out in front of you and keep it really steady. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sing Away in a Manger. I imagine this is one that you know quite well. You ready?
Lay down his sweet head. The stars in the bright sky look down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. The cattle are lowing, the baby awakes. But little Lord Jesus, no crying he makes. I love thee, Lord Jesus, look down from the sky and stay by my side until morning is nigh. Be near me, Lord Jesus, I ask you to stay close by me forever and love me, I pray. Bless all the dear children in thy tender care, and take us for heaven to live with thee there.
So we're now going to blow